What's up, y'all? Back with a new episode, Movers and Shakers Week 5, I believe. We're kind
Yep.
of getting into the thick of things. Really enjoying this series, Steve. The new AP poll came out this morning. Steve, were you able to take a look at it?
I was not. This is my first look at it. I vaguely saw it on the ticker watching the Duke and Louisville game tonight, and then the BYU Arizona. Yeah, so I kind of briefly, but no, I have not really dove into it yet.
Do it kind of blind. Starting out, Steve, I don't think there's any argument. Number one, Arizona Wildcats. 20-0. We're filming this at the very end of the BYU game. Dude, is this like one of the best college basketball teams of all time? They're what 21-0 now. Like they just are so consistent, man.
Yeah, really just a well-rounded team. And I'll admit, like, I haven't done my research on them. I haven't watched them a ton this year. But I watched that full game. Like we said, we were just watching Arizona BYU. Like, man, they are a complete team. Like, there doesn't seem to be any, like, holes in their, team guard-wise, big-wise. Like, Burries is incredible. But then you got Jaden Bradley, who's, a seasoned veteran guard who you can – who can run the show, and like when he gets hot, like he was hitting 5 mid ranges in a row in the first half. And then Koa is just a man. They got a lot of their whole front court is just like men amongst boys. Like they were moving around the BYU forwards tonight. Koa obviously like a very like strong four for them in college basketball, and then Toby Owaka, like man, like he was getting every offensive rebound. So yeah, just an all around team. I think they're definitely the consensus number one team, all 60 votes. Like I completely agree with that.
Yeah, no, I think 2 weeks ago I saw a stat on Twitter just saying that they were like literally the number one most consistent team in the entire nation, and Michigan was like one of the most inconsistent teams of all time, or not of all time, in the nation this season. I think you just really see that this year. Like, dude, Arizona is just consistent. They don't shoot a ton of threes. They'll play fast, but they get the ball inside. They really, pound the rock inside the paint. So I'm really impressed by Arizona, man. I think they've been killing it, man. I don't know when they lose, but here's a hot take for you. Is every draft board I see is Koa Pete anywhere from 8 to 15. This is what I'll say. I think Burries is a better NBA prospect than Koa Pete. Is that crazy? Is that crazy for me to say?
I'm gonna be honest, Dill. I have not, like I said, I haven't done my research on Arizona that much. Like,
Yeah,
obviously,
fine.
like Koa Pete has kind of been like the main one, just because he like came onto the scene.
Yeah.
So like, again, another point I was gonna make, like, who would have thought we would be here, Arizona consensus number one after that Florida win early to start the season? Like, who would have thought that they'd be here 21-0? But yeah, after watching tonight, I definitely think it's worth a conversation. I agree with you. Like Burries looked incredible tonight.
Moving down, we'll kind of group 2, 3, and 4 together. We got UConn, Michigan, and Duke, all 19-1 or 18-1. Of those three teams, Steve, which team do you like the most, and which team do you like the least?
So basically, how would I rank this 2, 3, and 4?
Exactly.
If I had to go, I'd probably go. I like how UConn's playing right now. I think they're deserving of that number 2 spot, and then I probably would put Duke at 3 and Michigan at 4. I think Michigan's starting to cool off a little bit. Like the shooting splits are starting to come down back to earth a little bit. Like, and they're still a good team, but I don't know if they're in that top tier with Arizona and UConn and Duke. I don't know if Duke will lose a conference game this year. I mean, UNC will probably be their biggest test for the rest of the season, but I mean, they just dismantled Louisville tonight. Like, they made Louisville look like they weren't even, a good team in the ACC. Like, they made them look awful. Michigan's definitely got some tough games coming up this week. Excuse me, at home against Nebraska. Obviously, that's going to be a great game.
That'd be a fun game. Yeah.
That is tomorrow night, and then at Michigan to close out the week. Michigan State, my bad.
That's a tough schedule.
Yeah, You know what I'm looking forward to? Duke later in the season. What a great non-conference matchup! Like literally two
Yeah.
top five teams going at it at a conference, and
Yeah, I
then
forgot they played that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane. But yeah, that'll be a great game. I think I'm more excited for the Michigan State game, just honestly to the comparison of like Michigan, which is just like this high flying offense. You know, they've got the three great front court players with great bench and everything, and you got Michigan State, who is just like a tough, hard nosed defensive team at Michigan State. That's definitely going to be the game I'm looking forward to this week over any other game, but yeah, I think not to discredit Michigan, but I just think I would probably put Michigan last out of those three.
So for me, Duke is the only other team in the nation other than Arizona that's top five in adjusted offense and defense on KenPom. They're top five in both. I think they're 5-5. Um, I think this Duke Blue Devils team is unbelievable. Again, I think John Shire is probably slowly creeping up the ranks for me of like in terms of my favorite coach. Like he's just so good, and I just every game that I watch of Duke, I'm like, bro, I don't see how a team can beat these guys. Like I just don't like. I don't see how Duke can lose. So yeah, I'll go Duke at 2. I agree with you, Steve. I think Michigan's cooling off a little bit. I'd probably go, yeah, Michigan 4 and then UConn 3. I like UConn. I think they've been hot recently. Dan Hurley, just tough to bet against him. So, man, and we'll get into this a little bit later when we talk about them, but this is another hot take I got for you. I'll take these 3 teams over the other 362 teams in the entire nation. I'll take these 3 teams: Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Give me those 3 teams, and I'll take those 3 teams over any other combination of 362 teams you can possibly name. I'm very high on those 3. Duke is in that group that we just talked about, but moving on.
That's an interesting take,
Nebraska.
especially after Houston losing at Texas Tech.
I know.
Even with
and
Kingston
like them
Flemings
even
going
more
for
after that loss.
42. So that's an interesting take. The question, I don't want to take your spotlight here of leading this
Go.
video, but I really want to know what you think about Nebraska. They're up to 5 now. They're up to 5 now with probably the hardest part of their schedule this week. Like they probably got their toughest slate this week at Michigan and then home against Illinois. What do you think of this team in general, and what do you think about their outlook on the rest of the season? I think everyone was talking about early on. They were like, "Oh man, this might be the year that Nebraska gets their first win in March Madness." Duh, they're probably going to be a 2 seed or a 1 seed at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're not top 10 in any sort of like efficiency number on KenPom. The one thing that I was thinking about with Nebraska, and I think the thing that turns everybody off of them is like name one time in the last like I don't even know how many years that like there's been a national champion or like national runner up that has not had like a certified NBA player. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. When's the last time like that's happened? I don't know. Nebraska just doesn't have any guys that are getting drafted, and if they are getting drafted, it's late first round, early second round, mid second round. Like, I don't know, man. Yes, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt because they just haven't lost. They haven't lost this year, but like, I think we'll see after this week is done if they're legit. Because I can't say with a good conscience that like they're a top 5 team in the nation. I just don't think they are. But if they can somehow win out this week, I'll admit it, bro. They'll be top 5 for me, whatever. But I still don't see it, Steve. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in the sense that, like, it's nothing to dismiss a 20-0 team, obviously.
Yeah.
And they've won in one of the hardest conferences. You could say that about any Power 5, Power 4 conference, whatever. At Illinois, against Michigan State, all these, pretty solid like Big Ten schools, but I don't think necessarily, maybe disregarding Illinois, they really haven't played a team like you said with bona fide and NBA players.
Yeah,
and okay, outlier Illinois. They got Michigan and then Illinois again this week. Like they're playing NBA level talent this week. I think that will be a huge test to like what this team is about.
I agree.
But yeah, definitely interesting. Going off what you were saying about their Like Ken Palm, they're at their 11th or something like that. Their composite ranking out of all the different rankings is ninth. So analytics does not love them. They do not get high rankings there. Definitely, their highest is the AP poll, which is what everyone watches, but is basically just a bunch of biased beat writers voting for their
Yeah.
teams. But yeah,
Yep. I'm
I
with you,
don't know.
Steve.
I think that's interesting, especially last week we were talking about Gonzaga at 21-1, and we were saying like, man, like if they just keep winning out in a rough conference, they're just going to continue to climb, and Nebraska jumped
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
definitely interesting.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Steve. I'm just gonna rapid fire these. Interrupt me if you have anything to say on any of these guys. I'm not looking at your screen, so I don't know if you want to talk about any of these guys. But I'll go to Gonzaga at 6. 8 last week, jumped up to 6. Missing Huff, and they play without EK for the first time all season. So I'm starting to worry a little bit about Gonzaga. It's a team I'm very high on, but if they don't have their front court, which is kind of what they hang their hat on, I would be a little bit worried about that if I'm a Bulldog fan. Number 7, Michigan State. What a game from Jeremy Fears Jr. 17 points, 17 assists. I think he's the first player ever in Big Ten history to record that in one game. So kudos to him, man. That was a fun game to watch. And, dude, Carr can dunk the ball. Oh, my gosh. He can really dunk the ball. 8, Iowa State. Milan Momcilovic. Man, can we give, am I crazy for thinking this dude is actually an NBA prospect? He's shooting 53% from 3 and he's 6'8". I get that he's old, but bro, he's 6'8", shooting 53% from 3. He's leading all of Division I with 80 made 3-pointers. So
yeah, I mean he's definitely going to find a role in the NBA. I think even with just being not really athletic at all and can't really move that well. I really like the outlook for Iowa State. I mean, they a rough road trip week for them last week when they lost at Kansas, at Cincinnati, after starting the season undefeated and second in the country, and then they lose those 2 games and they slide to 8. And I think everyone was just kind of all right, we'll focus on the teams we want to focus on now. Michigan, Duke, these big time schools. They're slowly going to creep back in there. I think up basically until Valentine's Day weekend, middle of February, they've got Kansas State, Baylor, TCU, Colorado. Rattle off 4 wins. Nice. They'll be 22-2 at that point. Home against Kansas, home against Houston. Those are 2 great opportunities for them to pull out some wins. I'm really hoping that Houston can put together some wins in the Big Ten. I have a parlay that would smack if Houston wins the Big Ten or the Big 12. My bad. And that's not looking good anymore. I really needed Arizona to lose tonight.
Yeah. Speaking of Houston, we'll move on. Illinois at 9, Houston at 10, Texas Tech at 11, and we'll go all the way down to Purdue at 12. Steve, rank those 4 teams and tell me why you ranked them that way.
You repeat which ones you were talking about? Illinois through Purdue?
Yep.
I kind of agree with you. I think I'd probably take Houston. I don't know why. That just we're both just kind of big on Houston for some reason. I think we believe in the coaching staff that you can always rely on a coach that is tough on his players and doesn't take any bullshit. Honestly, he brings in good guys. You don't ever have problems character wise there. You know what you're gonna get out of Houston players. So confident in that Houston team. Hard not to put Illinois above Purdue, especially after watching them go into Mackey and take care of business. I mean, obviously, Keaton Wagler having 46 isn't an everyday occurrence, but I like this Illinois team. They got a lot of different pieces that can really, I think, carry them in March. Then I probably would put Purdue under that, and then I love Texas Tech. Me, I love JT Topham. They were my preseason Big 12 regular season champs, but man, I just can't get behind a team that only plays 5 guys. Really, 6 guys, maybe.
Yeah.
They seriously, they had to combine, I think, in the game before Houston, whichever one I was looking at, scouting, whatever, they only had to combine 20 minutes total of bench minutes.
That's crazy.
That's out of 5 times 40.
200. Yeah. 10%.
Yeah, like that's insane, and like that's just not sustainable. Like I don't care who you could have LeBron on your team, but you can't like they get in foul trouble like it's over. Like JT Toppin gets in foul
Yeah.
trouble, like what is
Yeah.
this team?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great win against Houston. You know, they didn't get in foul trouble, and everyone was hitting for them. Even, their role players were hitting threes and stuff like that. But just not very confident in like the long term success of this team. Like I think they'll finish pretty high in the Big 12, but I don't see them going far in March.
They might run out of gas. We talked about that before. They're just not deep. That's just they're just not. That's just a fact. Really quick on Illinois, I saw a stat on Twitter saying they're literally the highest rated offense of all time in all of Division I college basketball. Really good stuff out of Brad Underwood. The one thing that I will say, you said it best, Keaton Wagler's not going to have 46 points every night. What happens when Illinois does not have this star-striking offense? The success is not going to be there 24/7. They're going to regress down to the mean. I think these next 2 weeks are really, really telling for Illinois, maybe more than any other team. They have should be a win at home against Washington. Then they play at Nebraska. Phenomenal game. Going to be a lot of fun to watch. Then they're back at home against Northwestern. And then they play at Michigan State. I think if they get out of there at 3-1, I'm really, really high on this team. If they lose both their ranked games, I know it's on the road. I just need to see what they're made of, man. I got to see what they're made of. This offense is too good for me right now, and I think it's going to regress back to the mean, like I said. Houston, we both like Houston. You hit it best with Houston there. I think I had Texas Tech over Purdue. My problem with Purdue is like they're normally a really good defensive team. Ken Pom hates their defense this year, and I don't know what to say. Like Keaton Wagler goes off for 46. They don't have a guard stopper. Like Braden Smith is great offensively. We know Braden Smith is one of the best offensive players in the entire nation. But can they stop a guard? Can they stop a guard from getting 46 points in their home turf? I don't know, man. That really turned me off to their defense. Texas Tech has been that middle of the pack Big 12 team, not necessarily middle of the pack. I guess middle of the pack in terms of top 25 teams this entire season. They haven't really been able to break through the mold. I think this is a ranking we'll see all season with them. I think their ceiling is low because their bench is so shallow. We'll go to 13 and 14. The two best freshmen in the entire country, BYU, AJ Dabansa, Kansas, Darren Peterson. Steve, give me the lowdown on both these teams and how they're playing.
Yeah. Honestly, I wanted to give you probably you're gonna hate this. You're gonna hate this take that I have on BYU.
Yeah.
I see BYU. It's so clear in my mind. I can literally see it now. Like I feel like I'm seeing the future. BYU is going to get upset in the first round. They're going to be like a
All right.
4 or 5 seed, and they're going to get upset. I promise you. I promise you. I see it. I see the writing on the wall. I see some mid-major team coming in here and, doubling on AJ, making him make bad decisions, and them coming out with a win somehow. I think we talked about this, and we were. This is less to do with BYU, more to do with just AJ and like what we think about him. What was I saying? I feel like I'm
about how you think
blanking.
He can get double teamed, and then you told me you think he doesn't make the quickest decisions.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he's a very quick decision maker. Like when he's got the ball in his hands and he's trying to back down in the high post or size up on the perimeter. Like I just don't feel like he makes good decisions with the ball outside of scoring. Like when he's just one-on-one scoring, like yeah, he's elite, but I've seen a lot recently of teams throwing doubles at him, kind of like if he as soon as he drives, they send a guard like from behind, to wait till he spins back.
They do that
because he loves to spin back, and it just seems like I said like I don't think it's a selfish thing. Like I don't think at all it's a selfish thing, but like it seems like he's reluctant to pass. Like just a fraction too late. Every pass he makes out of a double team just seems to be a fraction too late about reading the defense. I don't know. And again, I don't know if that's a thing of like he doesn't want to pass it because he really wants, he wants to score, or if he's just not reading the defense quick enough.
Agree or disagree with what I'm saying here? I would rather have a guy that is so scoring heavy and so aggressive on the offensive end, the point where he sometimes misses a pass, other than vice versa, where it's like he's so like passive to score and he almost passes too much when he's like not getting into it. When he does get to his spots, he passes too much. Would you
Yeah,
agree or
yeah. I
disagree with
mean,
that?
I would agree. Yeah,
I think AJ's so young, and it's a really hard job to kind of predict what they're going to do in the future. They're 18, 19 years old. At the end of the day, we're probably going to get 90% of this wrong. I just think like basketball. What is the main goal of basketball? The ball is the goal is to put the ball in the hoop, man. And I trust AJ to put the ball in the hoop, maybe more than anybody in college basketball. He's young, man. He's having to adjust to some of these legendary coaches. Like, dude, Tommy Lloyd knows what he's doing, man, and he's really struggled tonight. Like AJ really struggled tonight, and they're throwing double teams at him, and not his best game. He still finds a way to get 20 points. So, I'm high on AJ. BYU.
yeah,
I can honestly, Steve, I don't hate the take. I could see them getting upset in the first round. I don't hate it.
yeah.
That's what happens when you shoot a lot of threes. You can get upset in the first round.
I'll
But
say this, Dylan. Just
Kansas,
what's that? I'll just say this in response to
yeah,
what you said.
yeah,
How do I say this? I think that maybe it's not about like the passing or scoring, passing compared to scoring. It's more
yeah,
about just how he reads the defense and how he reacts to those decisions. And I think that my opinion on him is that his physical tools and ability to score the ball are really high. Like he can get to his spots, and if
yeah, yeah,
he like I said, we've talked about this before. He's like Kevin Durant, where like he can get to his spot and rise up, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like you can be right there, hand in his face, he's gonna make it. But I think sometimes, like, and this goes on like being able to read the defense and react. He loves to go to the same moves and like like if
yeah,
he's posting up, he loves that little like 1-2 into the lane, and it's either a shot or
yep,
the step through. Everyone watches him do the step through. I feel like that's literally his move now,
yeah,
and I just feel like at the next level, he's going to have to find a way to expand his game and become more
yeah,
able adapting to what's been thrown at him. And I think again that I think that's like you said, he's kind of struggled against coaches that have been the better coaches in the
yeah.
league that have
He has,
thrown
yeah.
better defenses at him, different game plans. So again, that's a different conversation, but
No, I'm
we'll
glad
see
you.
what BYU
Yeah,
does.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually a really good point. This video is honestly kind of getting long, and these are supposed to be our shorter videos. So we're gonna speed run. I guess the bottom 10. I'll talk about two teams from 15 to 25. Steve, hopefully I don't take your teams, and then you can take two other teams you want to talk about. I'm gonna touch on Alabama real quick. I'll touch on Alabama and St. John's, 23 and 25. Alabama at 23. I'm honestly, for the first time all season, worried about Alabama. This is a team that's always in the top 3, 4 maybe in the SEC. They've had a tough schedule. I looked earlier today because I was talking to one of my buddies about it. They literally have the number one hardest schedule in all of college basketball. It's them. It's Alabama. So the 6 losses are all 6 really, really good losses. But at the end of the day, man, you got to start winning some games. Tough loss versus Tennessee. A Tennessee team I think is really, really overrated. So losing that game did not help Alabama, especially when it was at home. And Bediako, man, just not a fan of these NBA guys coming back, and he's kind of on the top of the list of guys that I think can actually really, really impact the game. Like he's not a guy that's, I don't remember the guy on Baylor, I don't remember his name, but like he's getting 2 points a game. Like he's not really affecting the game much. Like Bediako, first game back, 13, 3 rebounds, had a really big block. He's a guy that can affect the game. So not a fan of that stuff, and I guess this is another topic that we can delve into in another video. But that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried about Alabama, and then we'll go to St. John's. Dude, a team that's figuring it out, and I think we talked about it at the beginning of the season. They were my pick to win the Big East. I don't think they're going to win the Big East. They're only 1 game back, but I think UConn's so dominant. I don't think they're going to win it. This was the type of team, and I told you this early in the season, Steve. I said, if there's one team that's going to struggle early and kind of figure it out late, I think it's going to be the St. John's team, just because they had so many transfers. They didn't have an answer for the point guard. Maybe the most important position on the entire floor is point guard. They didn't know what they were doing at the point guard position. I think Darling has stepped up fantastic. He knows what he's doing. And this is a team that's finally starting to figure it out. The transfers are starting to play better together. They haven't played UConn yet. They play UConn in 3 games, so that's going to be their first true test. Patino finally gets to 900 career wins, so quick little shout out to Rick Pitino. But those are my 2 teams, Steve. Let me hear yours.
Number one team I want to talk about, Florida. I mean, talk about a team that we kind of wrote off. Like we kind of like thought they were done. We put them in Kentucky
Yeah.
conversations of like we're not
Yeah.
talking about them again. Again, Kentucky, another team that's kind of sneaking back in there. They've won
they got
5 in a
votes.
row.
They got votes. Yep.
Yeah, unbelievable that they've as soon as we write them off, they come back. But
I know.
anyways,
I know.
Florida, Florida on a they were on a 5 game win streak before this loss to Auburn, and I'm going to call the Auburn loss a flash in the pan because I really like what Florida's been doing. They've been killing it. The front court has been as dominant as it was last year, and I think that's kind of, that was the thing that was like so consistent for them, and it was like we can always rely on our front court to just dominate every game. Have to give a shout out to Ruben Chinyelu. He has been killing it for them.
He's doing. Yeah. He's
Talk
good.
about a guy who's like not even like the main big in such a big well-known front court and all that. Like Condon was on draft boards last year, a potential first rounder. He's kind of sucked this season. Go in the shadow of Chinyelu during this win streak. 17 and 16, 19 and 12, 20 and 10, 15 and 21. Ooh. Like, man, he is just controlling the boards. Not to mention too, like as a guy who's like off one of those classified like really bad shooters, 5 of 5 from the line, 6 of 6 from the line, 4 of 7, 1 of 1, like just dominating around the rim. He's been incredible, to be honest with you. Obviously Thomas Howe, given his normal production. I think one of the play-by-play guys watching the Auburn and Florida game just talked about him. They were like, man, like his motor just never stops. Like he's just got like a competitive spirit to him, and I think that's what's allowed him to go from a freshman who was like barely playing, kind of like a 8th man on their team his freshman year, to now a junior, possibly being all SEC first team. So lots to look for there. Still waiting on some consistency out of Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee. Xavier and Lee, watching the Auburn game, like they were playing Clavzar over him down the stretch. The final 8 minutes, I didn't even see Xavier. I went to one game and then I come back and I'm like, all right, 8 minutes left. Let's see Xavier and Lee kind of get back in, see what he's like. They didn't even put him in. Like, it's just ridiculous, honestly, that it's gotten to this point with him. And I know we just talked about like he was finally on the rise or whatever, but but yeah, good to see Florida going back up. And then probably the other team I want to talk about is probably Louisville. If I had to talk about a team, a swing and a miss of just like teams we were so high on. Me specifically, I was so high on Louisville just because they were like a deep roster who like felt like they were really playing for each other early in the season. Like they looked like they looked like the best team that was like, hey, we're plugging and playing all these transfers. But we're a team. Like, we're all playing for each other. Man, like, it just hasn't looked good especially with Michael Brown Jr. going down. I mean, loss against Stanford at Stanford, then a loss to Duke, then a loss to Virginia, loss to Duke. I mean, these are the games that you expect, like, them to compete in. We talked about it earlier in the season. Like, we thought Louisville was going to be competing with Duke in one of these games, and they've, lost at home. And then they got blown out at Duke. Like these are going to be some really telling games for them coming up. SMU's a good team. That's their Saturday game. Notre Dame should be an easy one. Wake Forest should be an easy one. And then NC State, at home. Like these should be some games that like maybe a month ago we were like, oh, these are easy wins. But now it's kind of like, hey, like you got to win these to get back on track.
That Louisville team has been slightly disappointing. To sign off, I want you to talk about one team that received votes. I think you already know who I'm going to talk about. Those Kentucky Wildcats, baby. As soon as you write them off, they're coming back. They got a test this week, though. I'm not going to lie. They got quite the test. I think they're starting to figure it out. They're 27th in KenPom. They're starting to figure some stuff out as my KenPom loads. They're away at Vanderbilt and then at Arkansas. If they can go 1-1, I consider that a win on the week. If they can go 1-1 there. Yeah, dude, their offense is finally starting to click a little bit. Their defense has been solid throughout the entire year. I think that's been one of the things that's been like, okay, this is a bright spot for them. Their defense has been solid. They're on a 5-game win streak. They're 5-2 in conference, man. Like this is a loaded SEC conference, and like they're in the top 4 somehow. I don't know how they've done it, but Oweh's starting to play better finally, man. Like my preseason pick to win the SEC Player of the Year has finally started to play better. Still not shooting how we thought he was going to, but starting to play better. I think they have some more answers at the guard position, so that's been an exciting team to watch. Like I said, if they go 1-1 this week, I'm happy with that performance. Yeah, that's my pick. Steve, what's yours?
Honestly, I'd kind of disagree with you in the sense that like if I'm looking at a different SEC team that's receiving votes that I think is more deserving of a ranking. Texas A&M.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah,
man, Texas A&M, man. What else do they have to prove? Like, you know, they consistently are just winning. They're 6-1 in the SEC. They're leading the SEC. Like, what else do they need to do? Like, one loss at Tennessee, which no matter what kind of Tennessee team, like you're always gonna get a tough game at Tennessee. It's one of the hardest places to play. Yeah. In like what, double overtime or something? Like this team should be undefeated in SEC, honestly. They got at Georgia and at Alabama coming up this week, or I guess this Saturday, and then Alabama and Florida next week. Man, like I just don't know what else you need to do. Just another team that's just like plays by committee. Like, you know, there's just a 12 deep team that can, you know, any one of them can score 20. Yeah, I love Buckyball. Love what they're doing there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else they need to do to, you know, break it. Like I know they didn't give them any votes in non-conference because, you know, they didn't play anyone. But I mean, 16-4 team and leading the SEC and you're not ranked is insane, in my opinion.
That's pretty diabolical. Yeah.
Like you can't possibly tell me that Florida's body of work is better than Texas A&M's body of work right now.
Is that a hot take?
I don't think so. The 16-4, 6-1 in SEC compared to, let me find it. Compared to 14-6 and
5-2.
5-2.
I don't know.
I mean, Florida's 2 losses are against Missouri and Auburn.
Yeah.
Compared to Texas A&M, I don't know. We'll see.
Oh. You're a certified Aggie fan. I know you're a big fan.
I love him.
That's your guy. That's your poker buddy. No, that's your poker guy. Steve, that was fun. I think next week we'll be talking a little bit about Kentucky more. I think they're going to be in the top 25. Maybe Texas A&M. Who knows? We'll see. Fun stuff, Steve. Next week will be week 6. Can't believe it. It's been moving fast. So a little bit of a longer episode, but we appreciate you guys. If you watched all the way through the video, leave a comment, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate you guys watching. So thanks.